So the wife and I have decided that it's time to move, probably downsizing to a much smaller home. So the man cave, as I know it, is going to have to be significantly downsized. So I thought I would shoot this video to document my collection before I start dismantling it and selling some things and packing it up to go. So I'm going to do a kind of a detailed walk around here. Try to cover everything that's in the collection. We'll start down here with some sprint cars. These are the original mold of the action sprint cars. This is a collection that my brother put together and gave to me. Got a variety of older drivers here. Back around, everything from Tim Richmond to Steve Kinzer to Brad Doty. Then we move up into this corner, which is predominantly Blaney. My favorite driver currently is Ryan Blaney, so this is the only part of my collection that's kind of still active, as in I'm adding to it as he gets additional wins. Kind of start up here with a few of Dave's original cars and haulers. And then down into Ryan's Cup career thus far. The 124ths I've decided I need to cut back, and I'm just going to from now on be buying his win cars. So I've got all of them that have been produced so far, and I'll add to him as he gets additional wins. Got his helmets and bobblehead and just various memorabilia that I've picked up, a few things autographed. Some more helmets here. All of his 164th win cars that have been made. And then over here is haulers that they've done so far. And 164ths. Just about every 164th that I've been able to find of his to date. Starting with the Wood Brothers and going all the way through to the most current stuff. Going to move over here. This is my kind of patriotic portion. I was a big fan of the number 25 Marines Bush team, so you'll see a lot of that as we look around. A little monument I put together to my family's service in the military. Smattering of patriotic themed muscle machines and other 164th cars, and then down here into other patriotic themed race cars. Down here is a little tribute to my dad and my brother, who both served in the Navy. My dad was on the LSM 148. That's a model kit that I built. My brother was on the Berkeley, which I've built a replica of, and my dad's flag from his funeral. And then over here is just a smattering of military and patriotic themed cars of different types. The top two rows are just kind of patriotic paint schemes from various styles of race car. And then we get into the military theme. 3 National Guard cars, 3 Coast Guard cars, 3 Air Force cars, 3 Army cars, and then 3 Navy cars, and 3 Marines cars. We'll see a whole lot more Marine stuff here in a second. Start at the top, kind of a firearms collection there with various Remington and Smith & Wesson cars that were done. Rick Mast and Kerry Earnhardt and a few others. Some other just special cars that had no place else to go. Little Brett Hearn collection here. And we get down into a smattering of various styles of dirt cars, the 3 USAC sprint car styles, some late models, E-mods. then more patriotic drag cars and bikes. And then some 1/18 stock rods. Always love these stock rods. And then Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jr. when they ran over in Japan with the Coca-Cola schemes. Always love those paint schemes. And then when, I guess it was last year, when Suarez and Chastain ran the tribute to those two cars, I built those two models to kind of go with that collection. Then we get into the Marines collection. Kind of go through this here. Start at the top with various Marines racing items, and then I call this my 21 car salute to Team Renzi's number 25 Marine sponsored car. They ran in the Busch Series there for a number of years. So starting out with the original Hot Wheels that were done. There's a custom Toys for Tots that I did. And then we get into Bobby Hamilton Jr. with the standard and chromes that they did each year. Standard and pearl they did for that year. And then these are customs that I did of the Freedom car. That one was never produced. That's a custom I made myself. Or is that the Freedom car? Yeah. And then the Patriotism car. And then this paint scheme was never done. It was a Timberland Pro Marines paint scheme. They ran at Kentucky one year. So I made those. And then get down here. These are both customs. The truck that Randy Talsma ran one time, and the Ashton Lewis cars. More Bobby Hamilton Jr. and a custom Ashton Lewis. And then they did try a few races in the Cup Series. That's the car they ran in the Cup Series. That was never done. I made it. And then I think this is the last Ashton Lewis paint scheme they ran. That's a custom that I made. And then more kind of memorabilia from that race team. Different items that were done. I made a gold version of the Bobby Hamilton car. And then a gold version of the Team Marines car that Hank Parker Jr. ran. And then there's the actual car he ran, and I made a custom hauler to go with it. And then just a smattering of 164th Marines themed cars. And then I've got any of the Marines themed cars that came in 164th, mostly in their original packaging here. And then the same over here, the Hot Wheels ones that were done. I'm still missing one of these still in the package. Gotta find it, but then I've got the Ricky Rudd Marines Brookfield 124th set, and they did it in silver, but instead of displaying the enclosed trailer with it, I just put the car on an open trailer. I thought that made a neat little display. Then up here is a hauler case full of various Marines pieces. It's a series of semi-trucks that were done by, I don't know, one of the Danbury Mints or something like that. And then about the same time they were doing these pickup trucks, and I couldn't resist, so all of those are here. And then I get down into some of the Marines race haulers. Get down into some 1/18th Marine stuff here. Ricky Rudd's car, Mickey Thompson's Marines car model kit that I built. More Marines themed 1/18ths. And then over here, some drag racing, Shirley Muldowney's Blue Angels, and Bob Pickett's Marines Funny car. And then some of the Marines trucks that Earl made. And then just various Marines memorabilia down here. And over here. Next up we have the beer collection. I love the old throwbacks, so I like to display the original paint scheme with the throwback. So I've got a couple of those here. And then we get into Rusty Wallace and the Miller Lite all the way up through the MGD paint schemes, including Keselowski's throwback that he did there. That's a model kit that I built. And then a few haulers from the same paint schemes. A couple of my favorite dualies they made and helmets to go with them. Down here we got a Rusty Wallace pit wagon and the MGD drag car. And then we get into Kenny Wallace's Red Dog with a helmet and Kenny Schrader's Budweiser with a helmet. And then just a Budweiser collection here of various cars, a stack of Junior and a stack of various older Budweiser cars that were run. More Marines memorabilia here, a banner from 2003, the 4 wins that Hamilton Jr. had with that team. One of the recruiting posters the Marines made when they were sponsoring that car. And more of the 1/64th version still in their packaging. And then the 3 Rev hoods that were made in the Marines paint schemes for Team Renzi. Some other memorabilia, some hats. Got a Victory Lane hat here from one of their wins, and then a couple of pants from the Cruise fire suits. A lot of this stuff's autographed by Bobby Jr. Over here is what I believe is a pretty complete collection of sprint car race team haulers, starting with some old Winross stuff that they did, down into the GMP, and then into the Racing Champions with the cars, and then down to the Ertls that were done. Pretty sure this is every single sprint car hauler that these companies made. Then we get into sprint cars. At the top we've got Steve Kinzer, smattering of his sprint cars over the years, going all the way back to the old Coors Light car and his IROC car. So, and then we get into Donnie Schatz. Got a row of Donnie Schatz and then a row of Freddie Raymer. And then across the bottom, some pictures of a friend's race team that ran locally in western Pennsylvania that I was involved with for a little bit. And then 1/18ths, we've got Steve Kinzer's 1 year in NASCAR, and then some 1/18ths of his. And transition to the Brad Doty 1/18ths, and then finally a couple of the old nostalgic cars that GMP did, older sprint cars. Then we get into Slammin' Sammy Swindell, got his Craftsman truck he ran that season, and then a smattering of his 1/18th cars. And then a couple of event cars, the Budweiser car from the NARC 40th season and the Knoxville Nationals 40th anniversary. Come over here, more Blaney. We got Blaney's first NASCAR, and then his sprint car, and the car that he owned but his brother Dale drove. And then this is a custom I did on my friend's race team. And then we got the Shark here. And then we get into some Jack Hodenshield. Then over here at the top we've got a row of Lasowski along with his IROC car. And then we get into some custom die-casts that I made of my buddy's race team, along with several of the other teams that he regularly races against or raced against back in the day in eastern Pennsylvania or western Pennsylvania. Got Ed Lynch there, and then we get into the Blaneys again, the 2 Dale Blaney cars, and then 3 Dave Blaney cars. So this is going to be a tough one for me to downsize. I love sprint cars, obviously. All right, make our way over here. This is just memorabilia from musical career that I've had. Did a diecast for the band I played in, and then we played the House of Blues pretty regularly, so had to have the Bluesmobile there. Kind of just more memorabilia from my time in the service as a military musician. Kind of make my way over here. Mustang poster. Then we get into a little tribute to Richard Petty here. The hauler, it's a 143rd hauler? It's a pretty big hauler. That was done through Danbury, maybe? I can't remember who it was done through, but real nicely detailed hauler there, and then a smattering of his various cars through the years. And then get into a collection of 1/18th classic muscle cars and classic cars. This is a collection that's going to be very hard to part with. My brother put it together and gave it to me when he was downsizing. So they all have sentimental value. I'm going to keep a couple of them, but I'm going to have to thin it down. Over here is kind of a retrospective I've done of the evolution of NASCAR racing through the years. So it kind of starts way back there with Fireball Roberts and is that Bill France? One of the original Frances. And there's no way I'm going to remember these cars, all the drivers as I go through them. Got lots of Petty, Ralph Earnhardt, we got Buck Baker. Obviously more Petty. Joe Weatherly, I think there, Ned Jarrett, Bobby Isaac, Buddy Baker, Mario Andretti, Bobby Allison, got the Gray Ghost there. Buddy Baker, I think, drove that. Cale Yarbrough's Busch car. A lot of these are model kits that I built. Some of them are die-cast. Got Earnhardt's Coca-Cola Ventura there. More Cale Yarborough. Tim Richmond, Davey Allison, and Alan Kulwicki. This collection kind of started with a collection that Napa put out called the Decades of Racing, and I just kind of built on that. Come down here, we got some haulers and different trucks that are kind of interest, kind of maintaining this retro theme. I kind of got into collecting Fireball Roberts stuff, so got the Eastwood Fireball Roberts truck and car that they did, and then all the 1/18th Fireball Roberts that I've been able to find. These are kind of tough to get your hands on without spending a fortune on them. Really like these old 1/18ths. Down here, these are just models that I've built of trucks and trailers and various things. And then come up here. Got a case of 143rds here. It kind of started with these Legends of Racing cars that they did way back. Kind of really like these. So I bought a case to display them in, and then I had to fill the case, so I started buying more 143rds that were of interest. So we've got lots of old 143rds here. And then the old Matchbox Convoy sets, the ones that I liked. And then we've got a little rock and roll collection here with a Disturbed Pro Stock and an Aerosmith Kenny Wallace NASCAR. Got an old, I'm a big Ford truck fan, so an old Ford truck puzzle that my wife and I put together and glued. Then we get in up here, we've got some pictures from various driving experiences that I've done. And then one of the wins from the sprint car team that I was part of. And then this 143rd case is just kind of got lots of stuff in it. It's got kind of a smattering of different types of dirt cars, some old stock rods. This is a collection of event cars and the winning car for every NASCAR race that I've been to. Not nearly enough of these. We need to get back on the shtick. The most recent one we went to was 19 there when Joey Logano won in Vegas. But we'll add to that as we continue to go to races. Got a Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Sr. row here. of some of their cars through the years. And then just a smattering of old classic 1/64ths. And then you've already seen that I've got a soft spot for patriotic, so these are a couple of the years that Hot Wheels did a group of patriotic themed cars. One of my first cars when I started driving was an El Camino, so I've got kind of an El Camino thing going on here. And then a row of Dave Blaney. Had to move those over here because my Blaney corner got pretty full of Ryan's stuff. A little tribute here to the 3 7-time champions. And Earnhardt's tribute hauler, replica of the hauler that all the fans signed on the way out of the Daytona race when he was killed. And then this is kind of a weird little collection. I call it the Milk and Cookies collection. When Junior ran that Oreo scheme with the milk all splashing up the car, and then followed it up with the Oreo the next year in Daytona, and then Terry Labonte ran a Got Milk scheme. I just thought those were neat, and I thought they went well together. And just some little things that my wife has got me over the years. There's a dealer promo of the El Camino that I had back in high school. Then we come over here to Mustang Corner. Since I was a little kid, I've loved Mustangs. So this is kind of all things Mustang. Got a Mickey Thompson set there with his Mustang drag car. Just some other Mustang related things. A bunch of Mustang stock rods that were done over the years by racing champions. Not every one of them, but it's my favorites. And then some Mustang truck and car collections. And then this is just kind of a starting with the original Mustang concept cars, and then through the years, the evolution of the Mustang, all of my favorite 1/64ths. Getting into the Mustang 2 here in a second. I guess another row here. Just all, there's the first Mustang 2. And then getting into the fastback, and then the Fox body, and then their first shot at the retro, and then the next generation there, and then finally getting caught up to the current generation. Over here, some 1/24th, one of each generation or each different style of Mustang over the years. Fox body there. And then this is a couple of models that I built. The old Tasco Cobra Jet with a ramp truck to haul it. And then just various Mustang kind of related things. And then a couple of 1/18th Mustangs. Got the Gen 6 there in yellow. The Gen 5 there, GT. And then a little Mustang garage diorama there. And that kind of takes us around. I'm just going to do one more kind of sweep here. Sure, I'm going to miss this man cave. Really enjoyed my hobby of collecting down here, and my wife and I enjoy coming down in the evenings on a cool evening and shooting some pool or throwing some darts. So yeah, quite certain that my next home is not going to have a space for a rec room of this size, so I'm going to be going through and thinning this collection out. Thought I would capture it one last time before I start to dismantle it. Thanks for watching.